Okay, so I'm going to, I felt like a cheerleader just, I felt like a cheerleader just then. I am going to teach you how to curl your hair using last time it was a flat iron, and so this time it's going to be a curling iron. So this is going to give you those, not big waves, but it's going to kind of give you those smaller waves, not quite a curl. So it's going to kind of give you this very loose, wavy curl look. So the first thing that you're going to do is, again, I put a heat protectant in my hair just to protect it when I blow dried. So that is always going to be recommended. My favorite is the Loma smoothing cream, but any heat protectant will work. I like the ones that you put in before you blow dry so that it helps protect you from the heat after you blow dried or while you're blow drying. So I'm just gonna section out this top part. Okay, so then you're going to take this bottom section, and then I have really been loving, I've been trying these, sampling them so that I can get a feel for them because I want to start carrying it in my salon. So I'm going to use Kevin Murphy. I'm going to use 2 of them. The first one is going to be a flexible texturizing hairspray. So what I like about this is it gives your hair a little bit of grit so that it holds a little bit better. Sometimes with the hairs like super silky and super soft, it's not going to hold a curl no matter how much you try. And then the next one is a dry powder finishing spray that I'm going to use at the end. So I'm not going to do a whole lot. I'm just going to kind of give it like a once over. Not a whole lot, but just making sure that it's on the, it's like dusted on there, and then brushing it through. So then I'm going to take probably about 2 fingers width. I'm going to keep these sections pretty small. But not like super, super small. And then you're going to pass through once with the flat iron. So my flat iron, I like this BioIonic. It's an extra long barrel. So the barrel is pretty long, and that helps for, hence the name, and that helps just kind of get the curls in so that your hair's not wrapping around itself, especially for longer hair. So then you take it and you run it through once, and then you start at the top, and then you start curling. So these first ones are going to be away from the face, like this. And then right here, I'm gonna leave these ends out, and then I'm gonna start pulling it or unwrapping it down. And then I'm gonna slightly pull it through the ends so that the ends are not super, super straight, but they're a little bit straighter than the rest. But then up here at the base, because you have more hair, it's a little curlier. Now this next one, since I did this back away from my face, this next one is going to go towards my face. So I'm going to alternate the curl patterns. Then I'm going to leave these ends out and slowly start to unwrap it and then pull through. So then that leaves it a little bit straighter at the ends. Now when I switch sides, I'm going to go back away from my face, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Okay, so now we're at the end and we're going, or the top, I should say. So I'm going to part it where I naturally part my hair, and that's actually, for me, it's pretty far over. For some people, it could be more down the middle, it could be the other side, but for me, it's actually pretty far over. So a lot of times in the top, everybody is tired and nobody wants to do it anymore, and so they just kind of rush through it. That's actually probably maybe like the worst thing that you could do, because the top is what everybody sees. The top is like, nobody even cares what's underneath here if the top doesn't look good. So I actually say it's the opposite. So I actually kind of rush through like the middle, and because nobody's gonna see that, but literally all of this everybody's going to see, and it's in your face. So this is actually the most important. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the front, and just like we've been doing, but the very front, I'm gonna take it smaller, even smaller. So maybe like just 1 finger's width. I'm gonna take it even smaller than what I did before. And that's, for me, I have a lot of baby hairs. So I'm just gonna run it through just once, not clamped down, just using a little bit of pressure here to relieve some of the pressure here. So instead of being all the way together, it's going to be more like that. And then I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to twist it out of my face. And then as I'm twisting, I can even use 2 hands. As I'm twisting, I'm putting that same little bit of pressure and just sliding it down. And then again, leaving the little tiny guy out. And then as I'm releasing that pressure, I'm also releasing that curl. Now, I like to leave these guys a little bit curlier because they're around my face. So instead of alternating like we've done with the others, this second one is also going to go back. Especially if you're like me and all of your hair in the front tries to fall forward. I'm going to try and get that to lay as far back as I possibly can. So I'm going to go through and do that same thing. See these little babies? Okay. That same thing. Again, putting just a tiny bit of pressure. And then working it down, and then taking this out, and then stopping halfway through, maybe giving this one more little twist, and then slowly starting just a little bit to feed that all the way through. So on this side, since I don't have as much hair, I'm going to do 2 going back and then 1 going forward. That's going to change a little bit on the other side because the majority of my hair is here, and you can already see like this is brushed behind my hair, but it's all trying to fall forward. So the reason why I have you pull all the way through just once with a little bit of, with like almost no pressure, just a little bit of heat, is to smooth that cuticle down. Especially, so typically I have extensions in my hair, and most of my clients have extensions in their hair. So if you have extensions in your hair, you would be smoothing, even if you have like frizzy hair or curly hair, you're smoothing that cuticle down before you place the curl, and it's gonna give a shinier, just smoother look. Have you ever like curled your hair with a curling iron and like it still looks frizzy, like the curl is there but it's still kind of frizzy? That's because the cuticle is not smoothed down. Especially if you're, now if this is day 2 and your curl, or day 2 or 3 and your curls are in there, obviously you don't have to do as much of that work because you've already done it, and it's more just like touching up at that point. But especially if you're doing a brand new style, it's super, super important. So then that one went forward, so this one's going to go back. And then I'm actually, so this one is, I've got a little tangle in it. So this one is actually right at the back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do this one back as well. Just because I feel like it. Now back here is where most people have like a little bit of a cowlick or a little separation. So what you want to do when you're sectioning back here is, say if I had a cowlick right here, I'd want my section of my hair to straddle that cowlick. So I wouldn't want to make the part exactly on, like the section exactly on the cowlick. I would actually want to just straddle it and make it one big section. That way I'm not like, oh, what's that word? Enhancing, that's not the word I was looking for, but it works. Enhancing the part right there. Like your hair's already splitting, you don't want to cause more splitting. So say if like my cowlick was here for some reason, I would want to take a little bit from this side and a little bit from this side, and that would be my part with my cowlick directly in the middle of that part. Okay, so this side, this is how my hair would lay if left to its own devices. Very cool in, what was that, the 90s? Not so cool now. The 90s, 2000s, whatever that grunge is. So I'm gonna take this little tiny part. This is primarily baby hairs. Like you see how they're so much shorter than the rest of my hair. I've got these little pieces that don't know what they're doing. This is primarily baby hairs, so I'm gonna be really, really careful, but I'm going to treat them differently than the rest of my hair because frankly, they're different than the rest of my hair. And I'm gonna take this and I'm going to angle it back at almost like a, I've almost made like a triangle. And I'm gonna unwrap that, and pull this guy straighter. See how like all those little ends right there? Later I might have to do something about this guy. I can already see him coming out, but for right now I'm gonna leave it. There we go. And that was just like a very sliver of my bangs. So then I'm gonna do it again. Almost making a triangle backwards. And I'm gonna go back again. Mostly all of the ones right here are going to be backwards. So that it's not, so I'm not like encouraging it to fall in my face. So another important thing is always keeping this vertical. If you go horizontal, you're gonna get a completely different type of curl. So always keeping it vertical, straight up and down. So now this guy, ignore my grays, look at those. So now this guy is actually gonna go from the, like, not quite the corner, but just a little bit. And he, I'm gonna put forward. So he's like under my main part of my hair. If you don't have as far over of a part as me, and it's just down the middle, you're actually just gonna go back. This is just if you want, if this guy's gonna be hidden by a deep part. So then now I'm gonna take that triangle that I kind of made, and this guy is gonna go back again. Let's clip these out of the way. Actually, I think this section might be too big. So I'm gonna split him in half. And go backwards. And leaving that guy out, I'm gonna unwrap. And then grab this guy. And since he's technically the same section as the other guy, I'm gonna go back with him. Okay, now these last guys, I'm gonna start the alternating. So I'm gonna take from, and since it's kind of on the round of my head, I'm going to pivot. So it's still gonna be triangles, but I'm gonna take it from right here and I'm gonna pivot it back like this. And he's going to be forward. And then pivot him back. And then he's going to be back, and then he's going to be forward. So I'm just kind of, see how I'm moving my thumb just a tiny bit just to relieve some pressure. That way I'm not pulling, which is super important. One, you don't want to pull your hair, and two, if you have extensions, you don't want to pull those either. So pulling is not good no matter what. So then since I'm leaving the back out, I'm gonna unwrap it once just so I can get it in there with my big head. And then I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to take these ends and I'm going to loosen some pressure and I'm going to pull all the way through. Okay, and then since that one was back, this one is going to be forward. And then you can totally hear my husband in the other room. I don't even care. Anyways, so then I'm gonna do this forward and then I'm gonna still try and keep it as vertical as possible. Obviously there's gonna be a little bit of an angle, but I'm gonna try and compensate that for like angling my head. So then I'm gonna unwrap. And I'm gonna pull through. Okay, so my hair is all curled And I'm just going to do it again with the hairspray. Just a little bit. And then I'm gonna let it cool. So I'm not gonna do anything for a little bit. Like in the morning, this is the time when I would probably clip this out of the way, and like if I wore makeup a lot, I did my makeup today, but if I wore makeup a lot, I would put makeup on, or you know, what have you. I don't know, whatever you would do normally, but I would just kind of let them cool, because the longer they stay cool like this, the longer they are going to hold. So I'm just gonna kind of let them cool for right now. So then the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the dry powder finishing spray, which I have been loving these two Kevin Murphy products. So I'm super excited to start transitioning into having it in the salon. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, so now that I feel like it's cool, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through it with my fingers first. I'm gonna shake them out a little bit, separate them with my fingers. I'm gonna grab it from the top and give myself a little bit of volume by pulling it up. Another trick that people like to do is flip their head. Okay, then I'm gonna get a brush. And then I'm gonna start from the bottom, and I'm gonna kind of slowly just brush the curls through. Now don't be scared, because if you've waited long enough and your hair is cool, this is not gonna take like a lot of the curl out. It's just gonna take a little bit of the formation, so it's more loose curls rather than those uniform curls. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do, so my hair always does this thing where I get a lot of volume right here, not so much volume right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the hairspray first, and I'm going to lift. I'm gonna use my fingers. I'm gonna lift right here, and I'm almost, actually, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my opposite part. I'm gonna spray for my opposite part. See how like you just get a little bit more volume? I'm gonna spray for my opposite part, and I'm gonna give a once over with the spray. And then I'm gonna take my fingers, kind of push them against my scalp, and then pinch them like this, and then bring it up and go like that. And then I'm gonna brush them over here, and see how that gives so much more volume and body. And then there you guys go. These are super fun waves. Not quite so curly, but see how it's like curly but not curly. I love this. Let me back up. I love this look. This is like, if I'm being honest, my look is straight hair, but if I'm going to curl my hair, this is like my favorite type of curl, because it just gives so much more body and so much more volume, but it's like big waves, and that's what I love about that. So I might even go through and pick some pieces like this guy and like spray from the underneath if I wanted to get more volume. And then another trick that I like to do especially up here. So grab, if you still want volume, grab it in the front because that's where most people like. Take the brush and then push down with the brush just a little bit. So take it and go whoop, 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 like that, with the sound effects too, because that helps. And then whoop, 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 whoop. See, if you don't whoop, you get a straight guy like that. And there you have it, you guys. These are my curls with a curling iron. I think I'm gonna do another set of curls with a curling iron if you're interested in that, and do a little bit curlier of hair. But these are my big waves with a curling iron. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys would like, you can go ahead and message me with more tutorial ideas, and I would be happy to do those for you. And I hope you guys all have a great day. If you wouldn't mind giving me a follow or a like, I would appreciate that. All right, bye you guys.